Hey folks, VermiBag tutorials here. Today I'd like to show you how to deal with castings that are a little bit too wet. They're wet enough that when you put them in your screen, they basically just clog your screen up and won't go through. That's a real common problem, and if you're running your bins a little bit too wet, you're going to have this issue all the time. A lot of people spread them out and let them sit for a while and start to dry out. It takes time. This is a quick way that you can do it in a matter of a few minutes and be able to run your castings through the screen. So what I do to dry my castings up enough where I can run them through the screen is I take some finely sifted coconut coir. And I just sprinkle this coconut coir over my castings. Just a light film, just a dusting of them all the way around. And then just move my castings and mix them into the castings. Definitely break up all these big muddy clumps that you have and try and mix the coconut coir into it. Now, coconut coir, you could use peat moss as well, but I prefer coconut coir because it's renewable and peat moss isn't. Peat moss is definitely cheaper, but that's a personal preference, whatever you'd like to do. So now, are you diluting your castings? I don't know. That's an argument, whatever you want to say, but coconut coir is good for your garden. Peat moss is good for your garden. So I kind of look at it as a supplement to my castings. I don't see where it's going to hurt anything on them. So again, I just sprinkle just a little bit of the coconut coir over the top. And I screen the coconut coir before I put it in here to make sure it's very, very fine. And there's no big chunks of fiber and stuff in it. And again, I'll mix it up, breaking up any of the larger clumps. And that coconut coir will absorb any of that excess moisture that are in these clumps. And if I run into a pit or something like this, of course I throw it out right now. So that's about it. I have a pretty good consistency here. It's considerably drier now. I mean, it's still very moist, but I'm certain it'll go through the screen now. So let's take some, put it in the screen, and see how it goes. I probably this is probably 2 gallons or 1.5 gallons, I suppose, of compost. And I probably put, I'm going to say 1.5 cups, 2 cups, maybe 2 cups of coconut coir in it. So you have to put a ton. I mean, if you're having to put lots and lots of coconut coir, your system's just too wet. I don't know if this would work if you had absolutely mud. I don't think it would, but this is really intended for if your compost just a little bit too wet to run through the screen and you want to do a quick little drying on it, absorb a little of that moisture, for you can harvest it right then instead of having to wait a week to let it dry out. So let's run through the screen and see what it looks like. here's what your final product will look like. So you started with castings that are a little bit too wet, they won't even go through the screen. You add some coconut coir to it, mix it up really good, it absorbs the moisture, it's able to go through the screen then, and you'll end up with something like this. So, till next time, from VermiBag Tutorials, ciao.